Essentially, the aim of this tutorial will be to introduce this poem called Winter Swans by Owen Shares. Before we begin, I just want to give a rough background. This poem was part of a collection called Skirrid Hills. Now, Skirrid is a word meaning divorce. It's a Welsh word meaning divorce. So what does this tell us about this poem and what to expect? As readers, we feel as though this poem could be about the end of a relationship, the destruction of a relationship. It's written during the early 2000s, so it's a 21st century poem. We will be going into depth about the poet himself, but right now our focus is just on the introduction of this poem and what we take after reading it 2-3 times. I'm going to begin by reading it the first time round. We are just going to be building the foundations and grasping a basic understanding of it. So here I begin. The clouds had given their all, 2 days of rain and then a break in which we walked. The waterlogged earth gulping for breath at our feet, as we skirted the lake silent and apart. Until the swans came and stopped us, with a show of tipping in unison, as if rolling weights down their bodies to their heads, they halved themselves in the dark water. Icebergs of white feather, paused before returning again, like boats righting in rough weather. They mate for life, he said, as they left. Porcelain over this stilling water. I didn't reply, but as we moved on through the afternoon light, slow stepping in the lake's shingle and sand, I noticed our hands that had somehow swum the distance between us, and folded one over the other, like a pair of wings settling after flight. Now, hopefully, we would have understood the basic of this poem, that it's about a relationship that seems not so positive. There's the setting of a lake, there's the introduction of swans. We're going to be unpacking the language techniques used. To begin with, the poem introduces us the setting through pathetic fallacy. There's this imagery of clouds, rain, so it gives off a very dismal and dull mood. Here we have a lot of natural imagery. We have nature, we have animalistic imagery, and there's this sense of purity through the white swans, the icebergs, because we picture the colour white. The dark water could be resembling or the metaphor for the world. The swans could be the couple, essentially. Now, what we need to understand through the structural techniques is that they're tercets, so 3 lines per stanza. However, that's broken up as the poem ends on couplets, 2 lines in one stanza. What does that tell us? Could that be an optimistic ending, possibly? Now, we should also focus on the punctuation used. So we have, as we skirted the lake, comma, silent and apart, comma. Could this be a separation or a sense of distance that needs to be expressed? Now, that is a basic understanding, a basic introduction of the poem. What I want to focus on as we nearer to the end of the tutorial are questions to ponder on and make notes on. Questions to ponder on and make notes on are: what do you feel is the emotional state of the poet? How was the poet writing this, and in what sort of expression was he writing this in? Another major question I want you to focus on is what language and structural features help in aiding your thoughts on this poem. So as we touched upon, there is the use of a metaphor, there's natural imagery, pathetic fallacy, structural features such as the tercets and the couplets, including the commas. Let's all write this down and write how it aids us on the thoughts of this poem. Now, our impressions and immediate reflections on this poem is that it's about tough times in a relationship. However, there is this gradual improvement and there is this sense of optimism. Thank you for listening, and I hope this poem, this tutorial has helped in grasping a basic understanding of this poem by Owen shares, how Winter Swans is about a relationship that seems to have deteriorated, but nearer to the end, there's this signs of optimism. We will be going into this poem in detail, understanding the language, comparing it with other possible poems, but thank you for listening.